G'day folks, welcome to Beginner's Collection Essentials Episode 2. Now the first thing you'll notice is that I've renamed it. That's right, I've added the word beginners. Someone made a comment and I thought it was a great comment and it really reflected what I wanted to do. What this series is about is you've got all the standard cubes, where do you go next? I do get asked that and I think hopefully this will be a good way to do that. So I added in beginners because it's really aimed towards those who don't have masses of puzzles. So that's the first thing. The second thing you might notice, maybe you didn't, is the, what do you call those things? The things that you click on YouTube. Anyway, those images that have what the actual video is. One day I'll think of them. Each time now that is going to have a very, very close-up shot of the puzzle in question. And so it might be a little challenge for the more experienced if they can guess what that is before the video starts. And the third thing in episode 2, well, episode 1 I did the Rex Cube. I thought that was a great cube to do, and the Rex Cube is a vertex turner and really a great asset to any collection. This time I've broken my rule and I've gone for 2 puzzles. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the Windmill Cube and the Fisher Cube. And the reason that I've gone for 2 is that I couldn't decide which one, and I thought it would be wrong to leave out either of them. So let me talk about these puzzles briefly. Let's take them one at a time. The first one here, the Windmill Cube, and this one was made in 2003 by Katsuhiko Okamoto, Mr. Okamoto, and this of course is a 3x3 shape mod. Now you might be thinking, Mr. Okamoto, what's he done? Has he done anything? Oh my goodness, yes. Let me tell you some of the stuff he's done. He came up with a 3x3x1, also the Scramble Super Floppy 3x3x1, the Latch Cube, that's right, he did the Latch Cube, the Lattice Cube, which has come out recently, the Master Octagonal Prism, the Master Pyraminx, the Master Cube, the Quarter Cube, the Void Cube, and recently, I guess, the Windmill Wall Cube. So he is a bit of a prolific man, and he was the first one to, perhaps not envision this, but the first one to actually make it. So that's Katsuhiko Okamoto. And this Windmill Cube, we'll get back to how that works in a minute. Let's have a look at the Fisher Cube here. This one you can see is from Meffits and Tony Fisher. Who else? And I probably don't need to say what's Tony Fisher done, but this is a beginner's collection essentials, so maybe I do. This one he came up with in 1985. Now you might be wondering, why is it called the Fisher Cube? Didn't he make a whole bunch of other cubes that he did? Why did this one get the name Fisher? Well, as it turns out, Christoph Bandelow, who's made some puzzles himself, decided that he would order 50 of these things from Tony Fisher. He did so, and I guess somebody asked him, what are they? And he said, well, they're Fisher's Cube. And so this has become known as the Fisher Cube or the Fisher's Cube, whichever one you like. So a lot of puzzles you're going to buy will say designed by Tony Fisher, or they'll just have Tony's logo on it. That is Mr. Prolific. I don't know how many puzzles he's made, literally hundreds, and he's really they call him the mod father. So this is a pretty simple puzzle as far as some of his mods go. You should see some of the later ones. They're bizarre. So anyway, what are these things? They're 3x3 shape mods, and these really must be in every collection. They're a step away, I guess, from standard cubes in that they function as 3x3s, but they're shape modifications of the 3x3 cube. Now sometimes that will have an effect on the solving and sometimes it won't. So let's have a look at the windmill. Why is it called the Windmill Cube first of all? Well, we can go around like this, and as soon as you do something like that, you can turn that around and start seeing exactly why that's called the Windmill Cube. That's pretty cool. Let's leave that there. This one, I've told you why it's called the Fisher Cube. These are actually quite similar cubes, and you can see that when I do that, it doesn't look like a windmill, but it's still got that same sort of rotational thing going on. So the thing with this is, if I was to think about what kind of pieces these have, and in terms of a 3x3, I guess we've got a center there still. We've got 6 centers, and this time when I turn this up, that is actually functioning as an edge, not as a center. This part here is functioning as a center, and I know that because I can turn that around and it just rotates in place, and all the other pieces on that face are not just rotating in place, they're moving. And so that's how I know that now I've got these centers which have 2 stickers on them. So suddenly centres have this orientation. And the edges look on the solved puzzle as though they are centres. That makes things quite a bit more interesting. What about these bits? Well, these bits also are edges. So you've got 2 separate kinds of edges here. When I say they are edges, obviously that's a corner and that's a centre, but they function as edges. What are these bits here? Well, if they're the centres, you've got a white centre, a yellow centre, and these other centres through here, and these bits are the edges. Well, these other bits which are in the edge positions must be the corners, and indeed they are. And we can kind of get an idea of this if I do a corner piece series on this puzzle. Let's see if I can carry this out. I'll talk about why it's slipping in a minute. If you don't know the corner piece series, that's okay. It's just a 8-move algorithm that I use in pretty much everything. And turning that back, you can see that only 3 pieces have moved around, just like 3 corners on a cube. So those pieces function as corners. Now, you might have noticed it was a little bit trouble turning. This is actually, this and the Windmill Cube are probably 2 of the smoothest cubes in existence, and therein lies what I would call the problem. It's not really a problem, but it does mean that sometimes it just turns so well. I can't believe how well these things turn and how smooth they are, that it just turns too far, and then you can't get it aligned properly, and that's the issue. So don't be put off. It really is no problem, and it is a pleasure to turn these things, but you must be aware they are so smooth turning you probably won't be used to it if you get it. Now I've completely mixed this up. You know, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So that completely shape shifts the Fisher Cube. Let's put that aside. Let's see if we can do the same sort of thing with the Windmill Cube. And in fact, let's perhaps talk first about the piece types. So you can see here, can I get that back to normal? I can. Once again, on this one, they're both 3x3 mods. They're quite similar. So I turn this face and I can see that is a centre because it rotates, so is that one. What about other faces? What else can I actually turn? That face. So once again, we've got this piece here which acts as a centre. We've got this piece which acts as an edge, and this piece which acts as an edge. You can see that when we turn them. And so now you've kind of got the corner pieces, and they look a little bit more like corner pieces. And effectively, the same kind of thing is happening. So this shape shifts as well. We can just scramble it like a normal cube. Now I say, a lot of people think, they say this phrase, it's only a 3x3 shape mod. Well, not if you've never played with one. No 3x3 shape mod is a shape mod if you've ever played with one. It's an absolute mystery. And that's what these things are until you figure it out. And I've got to say, some 3x3 shape mods are a mystery. It certainly were to me when I started. And even, you know, I'd been solving for a few years. It took me a little bit of time to get my head around the case cube. That's only a 3x3 shape mod. That's right. But you get the point. So these things look pretty awesome scrambled up. They are, you know, only 3x3 shape mods. They're great shape mods. Now, the really good news is these are cheap. They're not cheap puzzles. They're cheap to buy. You can get both of these for $14 at the time of this video. That's $14 US, which is pretty good. And I'm obviously going to leave the links in the description as to where you can get that. The Windmill Cube is an interesting one because as of this video, Calvin's Puzzles have just put out a whole bunch of cubes called the Windmill Wall Cube, and version 1 and 2. There's a whole bunch on there, and I think the link will take you to that page as well. So there are a lot of variations on that. So do yourself a favour, if you're wondering where to go or you don't have these cubes, they really are a must for any collection, particularly if you're beginning, starting out, going, what do I get next? That's not a bad plan. Then you'll have some 3x3 shape mods. Certainly, if you show this to the uninitiated, they won't realise that they are at heart a 3x3 cube. They will think they are from another planet. So there you go, the Windmill Cube, the Fisher Cube. Thanks for watching.